For those that assist Stefan Milo's videos, as well as for Stefan Milo himself, in this video and this short series we will make sure that Stefan Milo as well as all others like him won't be kept up at night anymore. So please do not forget to pass on this video to Stefan Milo, and his public or to people similar to them. Before we kick off, congratulations Stefan Milo for your 180 fascinating videos. We have been fans of you since long and we assisted most of your videos. At 0 minutes and seconds in his video Stefan Milo kicks off, and we quote him. The voice you will hear is not Stefan Milo's voice.
Did Neanderthals or some other archaic human make it to North America? That's the first thing we're talking about today. In just human evolution archaeological questions I can't get out of my brain. Did Neanderthals or some other archaic make it to the Americas? It's an interesting one. This is a question I've changed my mind on a lot.
End of our Stefan Milo quotes. From here on, Stefan Milo goes on for 26 minutes, and does not come to solve any of the questions that keep him and others awake. In other words, it will go on keeping him and others awake, without a solution in sight. What keeps him and others awake are in fact the paradigms of consensus. And it is related to why geneticist David Reich claims that the consensus human history is, or rather became improbable or untrue, and that the consensus human history needs to be rewritten from scratch. In fact, Stefan Milo or his brain keeps himself awake because he does not feel clean about it, and wants to wrap up this, or a true and rewritten human history. So Stefan Milo and geneticist David Reich are after the same thing. We will prove this, as well as David Reich's claim, in this series and wrap up the true human history from scratch for both of them and many others. This so including for many scientists that claim that human history is more complex as they thought, which again is the same as what keeps Stefan Milo awake and that makes geneticist David Reich say that human history is improbable and needs to be rewritten from scratch. The part that says rewritten from scratch is an essential part, and that is the reason geneticist David Reich stresses on this part. So here we have origin for existence kick off or in to solve Stefan Milo's first and all other questions, doubts or for him unsolvable paradigms. This won't take long, because differently from others we will use the obvious and efficient scientific tools that neither Stefan Milo, nor other historians, archaeologists, etc., and not even scientists in general make use of. First, we will use the extremely important but short whole genome tree. The whole genome is like a complete human body to a toe of a foot when compared to the tiny mitochondrial DNA or the tiny y-DNA. This whole genome tree starts at the top with the ancestor. The first line, or next to the ancestor, comes haplotype B006 in green. Haplotype B006 is related to the Neanderthals, and to some extent as well to the Denisovans, but for now we will also call Denisovans together with the Neanderthals and put them both in contrast with all modern humans. That means all early modern humans and all modern humans. On the go we will prove that early modern humans and actual modern humans are the same thing, and that is already clear in the name because they are both called modern humans. On the go we will prove that Neanderthals, early modern humans and actual modern humans are the same thing, and that is already clear in the names because they are all called sister groups. The sister groups are Neanderthals and Denisovan or together haplotype B006 and modern humans, which are composed of early modern humans and actual modern humans. The Neanderthals genetically are identical to the ancestor high up or rather in the root or cradle of the tree. We claim so, because our scientists prove that the difference is known to be only 4 alleles, which is less difference than between 2 random modern humans that are not first-degree family of each other. All groups after haplotype B006, or the Neanderthals in green, are modern humans. Modern humans are sister groups of Neanderthals, and differ mostly by methylations, and methylations are not genetic differences. Methylations are more like switches that switch off a gene. You could compare it with parents telling their children, "Do never swear in your life." Some of the children could never swear, and others could swear all the time. Genetically they are siblings and all the same, but in their expression and the perception by others they could seem even polar to each other. The ones that never swear in their life have the swearing part methylated or switched off, and the ones that swear have their swearing part not methylated and freely expressing itself. Take it as an example, because almost certainly there is no simple swearing gene at all. So what did we learn from this one and simple whole genome tree so far? The Neanderthals descended out of a group that contained the genetic information of early modern humans, actual modern humans, Neanderthals, and Denisovans. These 3 or 4 groups are sister groups and are genetically identical in between them, and with their parents or ancestors or cradle. The parents were genetically identical, since they are identical to all these 3 to 4 groups. So we do not descend from a chimp or any other animal, but from modern humans or similar to it. This descendance from modern humans was minimally 400s of thousands of years ago, and most probably millions of years ago. The claim of minimally 400s of thousands of years is clear and recognized by all our scientists, and the claim they are millions of years ago is for other videos. Something else very important we learned is to forget about anything modern human claimed to have originated as recently as 47,000 or 200,000 years ago, and that includes forgetting about out of Africa 47,000 years ago. You should or could have known this before the evidence in this video, simply because Neanderthals are older than 47,000 and 200,000 years ago, even older than 310 to 315,000 years ago, and yet they are sister groups. Here and there someone mentions they came from an earlier out of Africa, but that is dubious because Africans do not carry Neanderthal DNA. In any case, something is deeply wrong here in consensus. And at best the subject is not frequently brought up, and this is because it is straight inconvenient for anyone who defends consensus, and until now also Stefan Milo defends or bases himself on consensus, and indirectly the related paradigms is what keeps him and others awake. So he better takes on the problem by the root. That is what we of Origin for Existence just did, or are kicking off to do more throughout. To keep it simple, we start out with Stefan Milo's first question or doubt, and things get hot right from the start. This is so, because when you look at the tree you see the Neanderthals descended in the Americas or from the Americas. Consequently, occurrences in other places are leakages or expansions to other continents, this so during the course of their very long existence. In other words, the whole genome or the most complete genetic information indicates or proves out of the Americas, and disproves out of Africa. If you would remain with doubt, we already inform you that all ancestral markers, which are what really matters when you look for ancestry, and which include mitochondrial Eve DNA, confirm or proof out of the Americas, and disapprove of out of Africa. Mitochondrial Eve DNA proves out of Africa, this in all cases when you do not have, or deliberately cut off essential parts of the information that is needed, and that is exactly what happened, and what consensus did not stop, nor did correct. When you do have all needed information and needed tools, and when you do not deliberately cut off essential parts of the information that are needed, and use the needed tools, you clearly, scientifically and unanimously solve Stefan Milo's first question or doubt, which we repeat and next answer. The question or doubt is: did Neanderthals reach the Americas? The answer is no, Neanderthals did not reach the Americas. Instead they expanded departing from the Americas or out of the Americas, and are out of Americans, just like also all non-Neanderthals will be proven to have done and been. This answer does not only solve Stefan Milo's and others' first doubt, it solved all his and others' doubts, and it solved all tens or hundreds of paradigms related to consensus, which also keep Stefan Milo and many others awake. But the full explanation of that of course does not fit well in this one much too short and limited video. The complete explanation, which you will find in other videos, also explains amongst many others, the for consensus, and thus also for Stefan Milo, and all others who keep on basing themselves on consensus, too early and thus weird arrival of modern humans, as well as archaics in Oceania, Polynesia, Australia, Indonesia, Asia, etc. After this video and series, all weird arrivals should not be weird anymore, simply because the most impressive gyres and currents of the world, that displace hundreds of times more water than all rivers of the world combined, would have thrown any out of Americans that managed to float on the Atlantic side of Americas, onto Oceania, Polynesia, Australia, Indonesia, Japan and Asia and even Africa, and their river mouths or deltas. This did happen pretty much in this exact order. For the same reasons, all that is assumed to have come from Africa, in fact comes from the Americas, and landed on the European and Western Eurasian, as well as on Africa's Atlantic facades and river mouths and deltas. All which unfortunately was wrongly interpreted as out of Africa. After being on the wrong foot already, and especially while they did not dispose of the needed information and scientific tools, scientists and consensus alike started to form their convenient narratives, which unfortunately became more of a dogma, with many paradigms, that maintain inconsistencies that keep Stefan Milo and many others awake, and worse, impede us to learn from our ancestors. While we provide evidence and proof, they had the knowledge and practices that we 8 billion humans urgently need, this to thrive and not go extinct, and not to drag all biodiversity with us in extinction, simply because we do not recognize them, this simply so, because we are blinded to recognize our ancestor and first cradle by the now consequential standard dogmas.